Today, we are going to talk about love. Love is the answer so that you can begin turning the excuses trauma created into stepping stones of healing power. Before we start, I'd love to see a show of hands. How many people here have experienced some form of trauma? Okay. Now, keep your hand up if trauma ever became an excuse to isolate, to miss an opportunity, or to depend on someone or something. You see, I chose this activity for a reason. Research shows that nearly 70% of people will experience some type of trauma at some point in their lives. So if you didn't raise your hand, you were not the exception. I know that statistic is not abstract because for years, trauma shaped how I saw myself. After my second assault, I hid the truth. The labels I were given: bitch, hoe, slut, liar. And when you hear those things, you begin to believe them. I started believing that love and sex were supposed to involve a fight. Yelling, screaming, tearing each other down, even hitting. The belief I internalized was simple: I am unloved. And that belief created patterns. I lived dangerously. I avoided medication. I struggled with food disorders. I drank to get drunk. I even attempted suicide. I surrounded myself with people as a form of protection, even when that protection became an abuse cycle. I was surviving and nearly gave up on a dream. The dream that I wanted to live, to help others improve their lives by letting go of the excuses that kept them stuck. There came a moment when survival wasn't enough anymore. On February 1st, 2021, I woke up unable to move. Able to. And then I heard a question that changed everything. Do you want to live or die? That was the moment the excuses stopped working. And I chose to live, not because life became easy, but because I realized something powerful. Love was missing from my story. Not love from other people, love for myself. You see, trauma teaches us many things, but one of the most dangerous lessons it teaches is that we are not worthy of love. When you believe that lie, you accept less. You stay longer. You shrink your dreams. But healing begins when that lie is replaced with truth. And sometimes the truth sounds like this: if you don't like the truth, change. Not your past, not what happened to you, but what you keep allowing trauma to excuse. Before I leave you today, I want you to think about something. Earlier, I asked you to raise your hand if you had experienced trauma. Most of you did. That means many of us have carried pain that tried to convince us that we were broken, unworthy, unlovable. And I believed that lie for years. But I learned something on my journey. Trauma may explain our story, but it does not get to write the ending. Love does. Love is what allows us to face the truth. Love is what allows us to forgive ourselves for how we survived. And love is what gives us courage to rebuild. So before you leave today, think about one excuse trauma has been using to keep you stuck. Now imagine picking it up and throwing it away. Because excuses were never meant to be chains. They were meant to become stepping stones. And if you remember nothing else from my story, I want you to remember this. If you don't like the truth, change. Because when truth meets courage, and courage is rooted in love, love becomes the answer. Thank you.